Welcome to a new episode of the CAP Podcast, Consumer Ammunition Tactics Podcast. I got a special guest today. Her name is Lashanta. And basically, EPA Financial was created by two sisters, Lashanta and is it Letitia? Letitia. Hey,
Yes.
Witherspoon. We're going to keep recording. After
That's
launching
right.
their flagship company, LLG Transportation Consultants, they knew something was missing: financial resources for small businesses. With 13 plus years of experience working in the financial industry, they knew this was a combination the trucking industry, as well as other industries, needed, not only to start their company, but to successfully expand their businesses by building and capitalizing on business credit. Mm-hmm. So they believe equipping entrepreneurs to succeed by educating them on tax-saving solutions, how to build business credit, and how to utilize working capital so businesses can thrive in any economy. Welcome to the podcast, Lashanta. How are you feeling?
I am feeling great, Michael. Thank you so much for having me. I definitely appreciate this.
No problem. My bad for butchering your sister's name. Where's your sister at?
She's not here. So I primarily run the company. She's just a part of it for the most part. So, honey, you ain't going to hear too much business credit out of her, okay?
Okay.
She's our trucking guru. Now, you ready for a trucking interview? Like, that is your girl. So
okay.
I'm more so on the financial side, and she's the trucking, the in the logistics side. So, yeah.
Okay, definitely. So can you tell us about, you just tell us maybe how you grew up, tell us, how you got into credit, things like that.
Absolutely. So we grew up in a very, very small town in Alabama. So the city that I'm actually from, well, the county, because it's not a city, that I'm actually from is called Alberta, Alabama. So that is very close to, like, people may be familiar with like Selma, Alabama. So things of that nature, right? So that's where we grew up. And I came basically to Dallas in 2017. So grew up in Alabama, went to college, obviously. I got my MBA. So I got my undergrad, obviously, in finance. And then I got my MBA from the University of North Alabama. So after that, I was like, I'm done with Alabama. I am moving to Dallas, right? So I moved here to Dallas for job opportunities and all that great stuff. So I went into nonprofit for about 4 years as a senior accountant, and I was pretty much done with that. Okay. I was done with that. And so I decided to become a full-time entrepreneur. So I became a full-time entrepreneur in July of 2000 and what year are we in? 2022. So 2021. Okay. So it's been a little bit over a year, almost a year and a half that I've been a full-time entrepreneur. So the ironic part of all of this, as far as with EPA Financials, it was a different name initially. And this business was supposed to be bookkeeping and accounting. And so, so I decided, I was like, you know what? No, when I say paid for classes and everything, right? But I was like, that's not my thing. I'm not feeling this, And so as I got more into business credit and things of that nature, being coming from Alabama, I used to be a loan officer for about 6 or 7 years. So financial services was my thing. So I was like, you know what, I'm kind of going to transition this thing. And I decided to go full term into business credit, teaching people all about business credit and business funding and just financial literacy in general. And it has been a beautiful thing ever since. So very passionate about just teaching in general, just financial literacy and how important it is, especially for our small businesses in our community.
That's dope. Yeah. That's dope. So did you grow up like being educated about credit? Because, a lot of times in the Black community, it's not a thing growing up. Yeah. So where'd that start?
No, it's, you know what? I just think I'm like a black sheep. Like because like, well, I don't know if you've been like that, but I have always been a person, no matter going to college and all these great things, I knew ultimately like I was going to lead into entrepreneurship. I didn't know how and I didn't know when, but we did not grow up around business credit or credit just in general. But I've always had that mindset of I need to make sure my personal credit is good. Even in college, I had like one credit card. So I was not getting into credit card debt. I just knew like I can't, this don't even sound good, right? And being from the country, a lot of people wouldn't know that. But it was just something I feel that was already instilled in me. Right. And that I just knew early on, I did not want to go into any sort of major debt and things of that nature. So my father knew nothing about personal credit or business credit. My dad, honestly, is just learning about business credit. like now, right? My mom still have no idea what I'm even talking about half of the
No.
time when I'm
Yeah,
explaining it to
yeah.
her. So I guess just to answer the question, no, it was just something that I just grew to love, I guess. And I already knew early on how important personal credit was. And ultimately, I knew it would be the same situation when it comes down to business credit. So,
Okay,
yeah.
dope. So was it like any environment you were in? Was it just because you started doing a financial? I'm trying to figure out like where it
Yeah,
started, you
well,
know?
I mean, honestly, like I said, just okay, I already knew, obviously, in college, I was doing financials, right? So I
Yeah,
was in finance and things of that nature. And I
yeah.
can't even tell you in school because initially my background was going to be in like computer science. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
nah, that's definitely not the thing. And so I was like, I knew I wasn't good in accounting. Like, how in the world you transition from a loan officer to an accountant? It's above me,
Yeah.
right? But I knew I wanted to learn more, I guess. I knew I wanted to know more about financial literacy, and not growing up around it. I had to do something, right?
Mhm.
And so I feel like it was just really led to me to go into the field of financial,
Mhm.
especially in college. So just seeing it, I didn't learn a lot, honestly, in college when it came down to understanding, how to budget,
Yeah.
understanding what credit is, all of these great things. I
Mhm.
really think just outside of that, just, going through the process of life and just deciding to do my own research, just start doing a lot of research myself, start reading a lot of books, start going, like YouTube, different things like that, just understanding the possibilities of credit, right? And how important it is, and being able to just teach that to others. So I've always been like a good budgeter. So
Gotcha.
even when I was little, I never spent all my money. So my dad give us money all the time. I never spent all my money. I
Mhm.
always was a saver. I always just understood the value of, okay, I need to keep $1. And
Yeah.
I think that's just growing up when when you come from a poverty environment. I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't have much. Okay. So
Yeah,
if my dad provide this to me, I have to be able to hold on to that.
definitely.
Right. So I just always had that type of budget mindset, like a very mature, responsible think about myself even since I was like 9 years old. So
Mhm.
that's why I said I can't really tell you. I think it was just something that was just gifted to me
We're
because
gonna
my
we're gonna say it was
mom
God.
totally,
We're gonna say God
yeah,
did
it
it.
definitely was God, because
Yeah.
you can ask my dad, he know me. Like, who's gonna keep $1 is me. All right. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be broke.
Yeah, I feel
Even to this
it.
day, I keep that same mentality,
Okay, I feel it.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. No, I think that's definitely dope. So I know most people like they're just like, okay, I know about credit. Credit is important and all that, but they don't really know the importance of like personal credit. And I
Yes.
would say even more to the extent of business credit is even more one of those topics where it's just like people might not know about it. People might not know about the importance of it. Can you
Right.
just elaborate on maybe just the importance of business credit? Like just letting the list, let's say I'm a listener. I know, okay, personal credit is cool. I hear people saying business credit, pay to X, this, that, and the third, but
Mhm.
like, why should I even care about business credit? You know?
Absolutely. So first off, business credit, like your business can handle way more debt, right?
Mhm.
Your business can handle way more debt than your personal credit can. So we know when we're dealing with personal credit utilization is a major thing.
Yeah.
Same concept when it comes down to business credit, but it's not as detrimental as it is with personal credit. So you're able to have very large credit limits, as far as the balances and things of that nature. The only matters when it comes to business credit is paying that debt, right? So if you spend 20,000, you need to be able to pay that 20,000 back in order for it to help with your credit history. All right. And just being able to separate your personal assets from your business assets, right? So your personal debt from your business debt.
Yeah.
Again, it just boils down to being able to, for your business to handle that type of debt. So large transactions, large credit limits and things of that nature when it comes down to business credit, right? And just in general, as far as with business credit, just the possibilities, the leverage that you're able to have when it comes down to business credit. So
Mhm.
being able to, have things strictly in your business name and
Yeah.
not be associated with your personal credit at all. Right. That's a huge advantage. And also, obviously, taxes, right? So your tax write-offs, your deductions, different things of that nature is a major big part of having a business and having that business credit, because you can write off your courses, you can write off ebooks, you can write off training,
Mm-hmm.
your vehicles in your business name. If you have properties that is in your business name, all of these things boils down when it comes down to your deductions of your business, which is a beautiful thing, right? So you can literally write off almost your whole life when it comes down to business credit, right? And so you just have way more, I feel like, not obligations, but you have more leeway, I'll say. You have way more leeway when it comes down to business credit versus your personal credit. So I just like to keep those things separated. And it's just very important that when you build in the business credit, that we also don't neglect our personal credit. Because when you're first getting started in, personal credit and business credit, then you still got to kind of, deal with your personal side as well. Because the better your personal credit score is, the quicker basically you're able to get those high credit limits when it comes down to business credit. So a lot of people, I feel, neglect the fact of, your personal credit is definitely still important when you're first starting building. So I'll say in like 3 to 4 years or so, like as you're growing your business credit profile a little bit higher, then okay, we can kind of, eliminate altogether your personal and then just focus more so on the business.
Okay, definitely. And what you said too kind of brought me to my next thing I was going to ask you, because I know a lot of people are like, don't worry about your personal, just get the business. You can do non-PG, this, that, and the third. And some people are like, okay, let's use the personal to, do PG because we can leverage that personal to get the business to the next level. So can you speak on that a little bit as far as, that topic?
Absolutely. So the ultimate goal is not to PG, right?
Yeah.
So your ultimate goal in business credit is to not PG. However, like I was saying, if you're wanting those major business credit cards, so when it comes down to your American Express, your Chase credit cards, your Capital One credit cards, Bank of America, things of that nature, then you have to PG on those cards because these are major banks that we're dealing with. So they're not working too much with just your business right now. Like, to me, to them, it's like, I can't fully trust that yet until you're like, have that tenuredness in your business. So when it comes to major credit cards and stuff, yes, you will have to PG on those particular credit cards. However, when it comes to those business credit cards that are no PG, which means that will be strictly in your business name, right? And your social security number is not attached to that at all. So those are your debit credit cards, Hatch, Mercury, all about that, right? So when it comes down to those cards, you can strictly base it off of your business. However, like I still explain to people, they still some way somehow look at your personal side, right? So it's a soft pull in just verifying your identity, but they still are looking at your personal credit. So to me, a lot of people like, well, what is a decent credit score? So if you have at least a 680 or above, that is considered a decent score, and you can pretty much get very much so as far as approvals. Way better if you have like a 650 or something like that. That's kind of pushing it sometimes when it comes to it. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be fully denied, but I want people to build, right? So regardless if you're building a business credit or not, you need to have a solid personal credit profile, right? It needs to be structured. It needs to be, low credit utilization and things of that nature. So your personal credit definitely still matters when you're building business credit initially, but then at some point it's not even going to matter anymore because your profile is going to be so solid that it's not even a factor.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I've been vocal about, different personal credit cards that I like. I know you're in the business lane. This is actually one of my favorite business credit cards, the Amex or whatever.
Yes.
Can we get into some of your favorite business credit cards?
Yes. So that credit card, so the Amex Platinum is my favorite. The Amex Gold business card is my favorite as well. The Chase Unlimited cards, anything that's Chase related, they have really great credit cards as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like, okay, well, if I got well, you won't want to use your credit, your business credit cards because of the benefits, right? So those perks, those discounts, those cashback rewards, all of that great stuff, you can literally pay for a whole trip, just based off of your points on your credit cards. So I absolutely love my American Expresses. They are my top cards, right? But a lot of people have to also realize, Michael, as well, the importance of understanding what type of card you have. Is it a charge card? Can you carry balance? Different things of that nature. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
right? And they just get to using all these cards, and honey, like it's a mess.
Yeah.
So you gotta pay it back. But I also don't sleep on my Capital on Tap. Absolutely love Capital on
Okay.
Tap. Credit card as well. So even though that one is a PG card, it's a soft pull on personal and business credit, right? But it's also one of my top cards as well when it comes down to business. So yeah.
Okay, definitely. So as far as EPA financial, so do you guys, I wanted to talk a little bit more about it. Do you guys do funding for people? Do you like recommend? Do you help people build their business credit? Can we get more information for the listeners?
Absolutely. So as far as what we do, so when it comes to business credit, so yes, we help you to be able to build your business credit. So what that means will be, I give you the guides, whether it's an ebook, of course, or through our coaching program, right? So I provide you guys a guide of how you can build your business credit, give you the step-by-steps on that. And I also do consultation. So I pretty much at this point, like do a consultation every day. And that's more so for those individuals that are stuck in their business, right? So if you're stuck in your business, you have no direction, you don't know where to go, you have started building business credit, you're stuck. So that's what I assist with when it comes down to the consultation. And so again, we have the ebooks that we offer as well. I have a course that is step-by-step instructional course for individuals as well. And then I also have a coaching program that is actually going to begin on November the 21st. So this is going to be the very first coaching program. So I'm super excited about it for my student. We're going to get it popping. So the funding part of it. So what I do is basically I kind of get an analysis of where the person is in their business and what you're looking for. Gotcha. Right? Because when it comes down to business funding, you do need to have some sort of revenue. Your personal credit matters, all these great things. So I just get, the forms and stuff. And then from that point forward, I guide the person along the way. So based off what your criteria are, I'm like, okay, you are able to get, a cash advance funding or an invoice factoring or startup money or whatever the case may be. So that's how it works when it comes down to the working capital part of it, of what we offer. And then also to be able to form businesses. So I form strictly only the LLCs. So if a person needs to have a business form, I can also assist with that area. And then once we form your business, it's time to build. Okay. It's time to build from that point, right? So that's pretty much what we offer as of right now in EPA Financial.
Okay, cool. So I want to speak for, let's say I'm the listener that I want to get into business, but I don't even know what type of business I want. Do you assist with that as well, or I got to come up with something?
So will that be more so like the business name, the LLC? Like what?
No, just
what
a type
like
of business. What if I'm just like, I come to you, I'm just like, Lashanta, I'm trying to be rich in life, but I don't even know what I want to do. You feel me? So what kind of business do you recommend I do?
So, I mean, we don't per se, I guess, assist with that. I can, but I also be very mindful of what I assist and coach on, right? Because when it comes down to certain things, like I would suggest your CPA, right? When it comes down to, okay, what do you think is the best structuring of my business? Well, I can tell you what my thoughts are. However, I don't know what the direction of your business may be in. So even that visual, I feel like to your CPA or someone of that nature is a more reasonable thing because they are the ones who potentially is going to help you with your tax strategies and different things like that, depending on what type of business you have. But, the usual and the typical is the LLCs, right? Starting with your LLC and then being able to advance from that. I feel even when it comes down to S Corps and C Corps and things like that, I don't educate more on that anymore because once I actually got my own personal CPA, who's also a tax advisor, she was like, everybody's going around saying things about this S Corp, but do you know when it's beneficial for you or not beneficial? Some people jump in and look too fast, but you're not actually profitable, right? So we set up the LLC. So I instruct about the LLCs and things of that nature, whether it's single member, multi-member, things of that nature, the simplicity of the things. But when it gets too complicated, I'm shipping you right to the CPA or you can go to your accountant. But it's good, I feel, to have a sense of direction to be able to assist a person. So if I just have to, like if it's not getting too technical, then I can definitely assist and consult with that area.
Okay, sounds good. And I know that I would say majority of my listeners, if we're talking about a business aspect, would probably be closer to, maybe credit repair. Some people might be trucking, Turo, stuff like that. Are those typically what you come across? Like typically what type of businesses do you see yourself helping? I know you mentioned trucking.
Yes, so we
Okay.
mainly have trucking, of
Mainly
course.
trucking.
So
Okay.
yes, so the type of business we have is a trucking consulting business. So we don't own trucks or anything like that. We actually help people start the trucking companies,
Gotcha.
right? So we'll assist them with the basically like the back office support in the compliance portion.
Hmm.
So they call us the compliance queens and things like that. So that's a whole
Okay.
other topic.
Okay.
But so that's what we do on that side. So I would say mainly trucking, just small business in general. I don't have a specific niche of who I assist because I can assist in all industries. Because
Hmm.
when it comes to business credit, that applies to every industry,
Everybody.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really doesn't have a, you know, a specific one that if you need assistance with business credit, honey, I got you. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I do.
Okay. And I was just curious, what does the EPA stand for?
Every penny account. So every
Oh, okay,
penny
okay.
account. Yep.
Every penny account?
Yep.
Okay.
Every penny
Okay.
accounts.
Okay, that's what's up.
And
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, so as far as I was just curious about your coaching program. I know you have a lot of offers. So you have you said you have like a guide to help people build their business credit, which is like an ebook. You also have a coaching program that's starting on the 21st.
mhm.
This episode's gonna air way after that. So I don't know if is there gonna be another like cohort replays or how does that?
It'll be another round in January. So it's
Okay.
basically every quarter that I'll be doing
Oh,
it
okay.
pretty much. Okay. So after this, like, so it'll end January the 21st. So after that, okay, the next round will be coming, right? So in the coaching program, it's gonna be webinars, right? So I'm gonna literally show my students how to do certain things. So if they need to understand how to apply for a credit card or the Amazon pay by invoice or any of that type of stuff, we would pretty much have class, right? And then we'll have bi-weekly Q&A sessions, one-on-one coaching sessions, things of that nature. So just really being able to be that clutch to them, you know, that individual, so I can make sure they're held responsible and accountable and being intentional about building,
Mhm.
because people can just get ebooks and courses and things like that, and they really do nothing with them, right? So I feel that some people, that's why they get into these coaching programs or
Mhm.
mentorship programs, because they need you to hold their hand, like guide them along the way,
Mhm.
right? And so that's pretty much what I will be assisting with. So it'll be more so a coaching versus like a mentorship type of thing.
Okay. Is it like 4 weeks, 8 weeks, or how long is it?
It's a 3-month program. So I do
Oh,
a
3 minute
3-month
program.
program. It's
Okay.
a 3-month program. So you know, bi-weekly Q&A sessions, monthly one-on-ones, different things of that nature. So 3 whole months they have me.
Okay. Okay.
Teaching them a lot though. But at the end of the program, my ultimate goal is to make sure that they are leaving with at least 6 figures in funding,
Mhm.
right? And making sure that their personal credit is intact,
Mhm.
that you have your business credit scores, that you have applied for at least 2 to 3 credit cards, right? No PG cards, major credit cards. So
Yeah.
I need you to leave all the way together, right? I need you to be solid by the time you need
Definitely.
this program. And because that's the ultimate goal. I don't want to leave them empty handed. And I also leave with a call to action plan. So I need
Yeah.
you to continue on with this process even after our 3-month program, so I can make sure you will be successful starting for 2023.
Okay. Perfect. And how can my listeners, if they're interested, get on maybe like the waiting list for the next one? Like, do they just
Um,
DM you? Like, how does it work?
yeah, they could definitely DM me. I do actually have a coaching program wait list as well.
Okay.
So I can put it in my link tree, which is on my Instagram page or Facebook. I just have the link tree on all platforms. So if
Gotcha.
anyone is interested, then they can just join the wait list. Or if they want a more direct, they can DM me. You know how the world works now. So you can just
Yeah. Yeah.
DM me
Definitely.
or send
Definitely.
me a messenger or whatever it may be. And or they can just email me as well. So you can email me at info@epafinancialsolutions.com as well.
Okay. Cool. And I'll have all your information in like the description and all that.
Perfect. Perfect.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna ask you something. Oh yeah, business credit. So let's say like I don't know nothing about business credit.
Hmm?
Let's say I don't know nothing about no paydex score. I don't know nothing about no different tiers and all that. Break it down to me. How do I build a business credit score? What if I think business credit is like a FICO score? Like I don't know nothing. Like break it down to me.
Got you. All right. So first of all, before you even start building business credit, because they like, how do I even start this? Well,
Yeah.
your first thing is going to be your foundation. So making sure that your business, that you have your business name, you have a legal entity, which is an LLC, partnership, corporation, whatever you may need. You have a professional email, virtual address. I'd never suggest anyone to have their home address because this is publicized information.
Yeah.
So anything that is business related is publicized, right? So I never suggest people have their home address. Also being able to get your DUNS number, make sure you have your website, you know, professional imaging, being verified on Google, right? So getting
that's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Making sure that your business is credible before you even start building this business credit. So get it on Google, Yahoo, Yelp, Bing, basically all the major 411 national directories, being a part of that, right? So that's first and foremost. So I tell everybody, make sure your foundation is set first. So after that, you're going to begin with your tier 1 accounts. So you have your tier 1, tier 2s, and tier 3 accounts. So you start with your tier 1 accounts, which is your net 30s or your vendor accounts.
What does net 30 mean?
I got you, honey. So your net 30s is going to be those vendor accounts. So basically, if you purchase something today, you do not have to pay for with a debit or credit card right then. You will make those purchases in 30 days, okay? But I never tell people to pay in 30 days because when it comes to business credit, your paying early matters the most, right? So we're going to pay it back in about 20 days, no more than 25 days. If it's just a hit or miss, it's like, okay, I got to push it a little bit more. Like don't surpass like 25 days. All right. So you start with those net 30 accounts. So that could be your Quell accounts, Granger, Crown Office Supplies, the CEO Creative. So those would be like your vendor accounts. All right. Then we're going to move forward to our retail accounts. So Staples, Office Depot, your Amazon, pay by invoice. So you'll be doing that as well, right? You don't move on to your next steps until you have at least 3 to 5 vendor accounts in each tier, okay? So we build it out in the first tier. Now we're ready to move on to tier 2, okay? When you leave there, by the time a person goes to tier 3, so your credit cards, different things of that nature, you should at least have about 6 to 10 vendor accounts already in place, okay? A lot of people don't know regarding like the 4th tier, but that's like your vehicles, right? Your vehicles, your lines of credits, your loans, all of that stuff. So by the time you get to step 4, we should have about 10 to 12 accounts in place, right? So we should have pretty much a solid business credit profile built out by the time we're ready to get vehicles, get your Airbnbs, vending machines, all this great stuff. As far as a time frame, because I know like people always ask like, well, how long does it take to do a good business
credit? That was my next question.
So it takes about up to a year. For me, I feel like a year is a good point to be like, okay, I have about 10 to 12 vendor accounts, right? Now I'm ready to go ahead and get those credit cards, those major credit cards, or those no PG cards. And never forget about the fuel cards, because we're still getting fuel cards in the midst of this too, right? And your Airbnbs, things of that nature. So for a solid, solidified business credit profile, I feel like a year is a really good standpoint in being able to move forward, right? So even if you can't make it a year, I will at least push it at least to about 9 months. You can get a lot done. If a person is really adamant and determined and have drive about themselves, then you can have a solid, I feel like, business credit profile built in about 9 months. And you should be ready to get like a vehicle for sure, or to start like a tour road business or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Definitely sounds good. So I didn't even know about the tier 4 thing. I know tier 3 and everything. I didn't know tier 4 is a vehicle. So yeah, that's definitely good information. So I saw on your profile, I think it looked like you were on the news or something.
So that is actually my trademark laureate. Yep.
Can you talk about that? How did that opportunity come about?
Honey, listen, God, I guess, because what's so funny even about that interview, like I literally had not even launched the business yet. I was basically in the process of relaunching, and so I put everything on hold. And I just started like the relaunch in September. So the progress that people see from September to now, it literally just happened. Like I'm talking about from 1,000 followers to like 23,000 followers in no time. God, okay, don't ask me. Nothing but God. But anyway, so Dana actually, she's based out of Atlanta. And so she have done our trademark business for our LLG transportation consultant business. So she did our trademark for that business. So she's kind of familiar with me. And so she followed my page. And so she was like, And she said it was a very hot topic, right? It was a very hot topic for business credit, and nobody was really talking about it. So
Yeah.
reached out to me, her team reached out to me. We got the interview set up, and I mean, it was a good done deal for that. So she's actually in the process of working on my trademark for this business as we speak. So that's how it really happened. So I guess we kind of had a connection in a sense, but the fact that I was still so new, like I didn't even have half of the engagement I have, right? Like half. I mean, like freaking almost 85%. I didn't have half of this stuff. So that's why I was like, okay, guy, I see what you're about to start doing, right? And it's just really happened. She reached out, we made it happen, Captain, and that's where the interview came from.
Okay, that's dope. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's dope. That's dope. So why would you say people probably, for people that don't succeed with business credit, what would you say is maybe like the main reason? Like a patience thing, or is it just like
that too? Patience is definitely one of them, but importantly, the lack of structure of their businesses. A lot of businesses are not set up properly. They are inconsistent. They're changing things. So they may change with the IRS, but you're not changing with your bank account or your vendor accounts. So as they're applying for different things, they're getting denied, right? And also personal credit is a major factor for that as well. You know, people's credit is just not intact right now. And so when you're trying to get these high-end credit cards and things like that, and they're doing potentially a soft pull or a hard pull, you're not meeting requirements, you know, because, and it's not so, it is about the personal credit side, but also the utilization is the most important part of it, right? You got too much debt going on. So that kind of prevents people from moving forward. But you'll be surprised how many people are like literally not set up properly. They're not structured properly. They haven't followed the simple, you know, protocol. I have like a 10-step protocol that I tell my students to follow. Make sure you have these things in place, and just being consistent on every application, being consistent. Whatever you put on one, you put on the next, right? That you dot your I's and cross all of your T's, because it really does matter when it comes down to business credit.
Okay, definitely. For the listeners, 10-step protocol, where can we get that?
So
is that strictly in your program, or?
Oh, no. So it is a free, I actually have it as a free guide right now. It's a free guide on my Linktree. So if you guys are on here, so my Instagram is EPA_financial. All right. So you go to my link in my bio for my Linktree. It is, I think, the first or second link. So it says 10-step guide, and it is free 99. Okay.
Oh, it's the first one right here. Free 10-step business credit. Okay.
Yes, sir. So they can download that, follow it to the T. And once you're able to do that, you're ready to start building business credit from that point.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay, misconceptions about business credit. Let's get into it.
Misconceptions. One of them is that you don't need personal credit, right?
That's a good one.
Like probably the top thing is you don't have to have personal credit to build business credit. That's not true, especially in the beginning. I think that's probably like one of the top things is not, you know, you don't need personal credit to build business credit, because you see that so much.
Yeah.
It's true to a certain extent, right? And it's always ways and strategies and things around certain things, right? But it doesn't always work that way for everybody. And you put, you know, certain things in certain people's hands, honey, they're gonna go and mess it up. It's not gonna work if they don't have a step-by-step, like this is what you do from A to Z. It's just not gonna work. So I think that's, honestly, for me, it's like the most biggest misconception about not needing personal credit when you're first starting out, because you really do. It helps. It really helps to move the process on a little bit faster, for sure.
Okay, definitely. Let's say I'm a listener and I've tried to build business credit. You know, I've gotten a lot of information from different people, and I'm just kind of frustrated. I don't know how to move forward. What would your advice be for me?
So the first thing when I say to that, when people are like all over the place, is you need to book a consultation. You need to book a consultation with a, I don't call myself an expert or anything like that. Just someone that, the way that I pick people is based upon personality, how your page is set up. I don't do a lot of flashy things. If you can fact check a person, to me, okay, all right, that person is somebody because I live authenticness, right? Yeah. But if someone is just all over the place or confused, because a lot of people don't trust that, right? So before I just try to dish out about an ebook or my course and things of that nature, people need to know that you're a real person. So gaining that confidence, right, to gain that trust for those individuals that always say, go ahead and book a consultation. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's understand where you are in your business. I get to know who the person is. Where are you? Have you started the process? If you have, where you stuck at? So just really building that relationship. Once you start building that relationship with people, then now from this point forward, they have more confidence to know what direction they're going to move in next. Right. And so that's where I start. So if you just all over the place, if you're confused, start with booking a consultation with anybody that you feel may be a good choice for you. Right. Book that consultation. To me, from that point, every time a person books, they're like, okay, like I feel better about it. Like, because I'm a relatable person. You got to be able to relate to people and, you know, show you care about their situation. And it's not all about the dollar all the time, you know, but making sure that they have that confidence in knowing that, okay, when I start building this business credit, I know for sure by the time this ends that I can at least have 6 and 7 figures in funding. So just starting with your consultations is first and foremost. And then from that point, decide on what product or service is best for you.
Okay. And if they want to book a consultation with you, it's link in your bio as well, right?
Yes. They want to book a consultation. The link is in my bio. Also on the Instagram page as well. It has like book now. So you can literally just click that also and book a consultation strictly from there as well.
Okay. Are there free consultation, paid consultation? Like what?
So the consultations are paid. So when it comes to the business funding, because a lot of people don't know what to do. So those are more so like a free 30-minute consultation for the business funding. So what that means would be like working capital, you know, a loan, things of that nature. But if it comes down to business credit, they are 1 hour via Zoom. So I have a one-on-one 1 hour via Zoom with them and we talk about it. So the consultations right as of now, as of this video, is $60. Okay. So not anything that breaks, like people book it like with no problems, right? I didn't want it to be expensive or anything like that right now because I really want to, you know, dive deeper into their businesses and things like that. But the funding side is 30 minutes for free.
Okay, cool. So I want to talk about specifically business funding, because a lot of times when we talk about business funding, people don't take into consideration that we could be talking about business credit cards. We could be talking about, you know, business lines of credit. Can we talk about that? Maybe just, you know, your insight on that, just to give people more information. Yeah.
I'm glad you asked that, Michael, because that is people do get it kind of mixed up, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of corrected when I say funding, I mean this and then the third, right? So business funding can be a collection, right? It can be a combination of things. So it can be lines of credit, it can be loans, it can be grants, it can be credit cards, all of those sort of things, right? So it's a combination of these things. So when people are saying they have hundreds of thousands in funding, that means they have a combination, especially when it comes to credit cards, right? So you can have $100,000 in credit lines alone from a credit card. But when it comes to, I try to correct when I say, okay, so funding can also be working capital as well. So I try to correct my wording when I say that. So when I'm saying like get extra money for your business, sometimes it can be working capital, which can be a line of credit, installment loan, revolving, whatever that may be, right? But funding can be a, you know, a combination of several different factors that makes up that amount in funding that you have to be able to leverage your business and invest in different things of that nature. So hopefully that helps.
yeah, definitely. I definitely wanted to clarify that because I know even I've talked to certain clients too, they get confused as far as that. So yeah, definitely. Is there a certain type of funding that you prefer as far as business? Like you prefer lines of credit, credit cards, you know?
Oh, so I'm hands down all about credit cards, but 0%. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm all about my 0% APR credit cards. So
12 months, 18 months, 6 months.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think that's a beautiful thing, Michael, when it comes down to the credit card side, is that in business, you for sure can get you some 0% APR credit cards, right? With American Express and Capital on Tap, and I'm sorry, not Capital on Tap, Capital One, different people like that, even Chase and things like that, right? That goes from, like you said, 12 months, 18 months, and so forth. So I prefer definitely that over anything. But ultimately, every business I personally feel should have a line of credit, right? So line of credit is ultimately my favorite out of everything. And the reason being, so a line of credit would be like a revolving loan. So a revolving loan would basically mean that if you have $100,000 line of credit, you spend 25,000, right? You pay back that 25,000. Now you still have a full line of credit of 100,000. So it just basically, you're able to just kind of recycle in a sense. You use the money, pay it back, you still have it at the same time. So those are my favorite. Installment loans are great as well, but once you use that money, you pay it back in your term, that's it. You got to start over. Yeah. Right? You got to go get some more money. So my favorite are the 0% APR credit cards and lines of credit hand down.
Yeah, I definitely like lines of credit because, use as you go, basically.
Yes.
If you're responsible, you obviously want to be responsible with this.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely.
Yes. And the ones at the banks, right? Because I'm all about, a lot of people, I just did a webinar and stuff last night and they was pretty shook by this. So I think it's good for people to know that when you're doing alternative loans, online banking loans, right? Those type of loans, with like Bluevine and Cabbage and all of these different people, that when you're paying it back, it can either be on a daily rate or a weekly rate when it comes to business. Okay. So a lot of people don't know that, but you're going to pay it back either on a daily or a weekly, right? Ultimately, eventually, once you get into like the lines of credit, that comes when people have about 2 years in business, but you got to have like a healthy amount, like in in revenue, right? Monthly, to be able to get like a line of credit on the business side. It's very possible, but you got to show some, you got to show some paperwork, right?
Yeah.
To get that. But I think that is a good thing for people to know, that when you're seeking working capital, right, for whatever reason in your business, and you're choosing to do those alternative loans or those online lenders, that your payback is either going to be daily or weekly. It's very rare. It's very rare that you will have a loan that you can pay back monthly from those lenders. Now, more so with the banks or credit union on that side, it may be so, more so on a monthly side and less fee. So I think that is very important for people to understand that everybody can't get one with the banks or credit unions. So that's why they're there. But you need to know, if you get that you may have to pay it back weekly or daily.
Okay, those are Bluevine, all them. Those are the ones if you have like bad credit, right? I think, or no?
Not really with bad credit, because I think like you don't have to have amazing credit, right? It could be like a 620, 600, like depending upon that, right? But those they work a little bit more like with businesses, small business and things like that, and your revenue maybe have to be about 10,000 a month. So it's not like grand, right? But they have them out there because, again, everybody can't get one from the banks because of the years of tax returns and all this stuff. So you may have to go that route. But to me, honestly, Michael, some people also still sleep on the fact that you can get a personal loan to use for business, right? So you can still use personal and leverage that initially, right? And until you build up that rapport in your business, to be able to, now I can qualify for actual business funding, construction loan, like different things like that in your business. So you may have to go the personal side. And to me, ultimate why it's still important that you have a good personal credit score as well, and your low utilization. So you're able to utilize that if you just have to use it for business until you get your, start generating cash flow within your business.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point about the different payouts if you can't go through the bank. So hopefully people are taking notes.
I hope so, because I gave me a lot of tea.
No, definitely, that's why we're doing this. But I want to talk about years of history. Let's say I'm impatient. I'm like, okay, I hear you got to have at least 2 years of history to get good funding. What's your opinion on me buying like an aged corp or something?
Can you say what you said?
The aged corporation?
That you're impatient with that.
Yeah.
That's why I say either you could go through some sort of program potentially. There's still other ways around it. So I would either go through some sort of program if you're just impatient about building business credit, because everybody is. It's just like literally like, oh my God, this is like detrimental. But it's really not. If you just be patient, you could really leverage it to a whole new level. But if you're just impatient with it, right? You can go through different resources to be able to assist you with whatever you're trying to do. Maybe you could do it a little bit faster. Or again, I would just leverage my personal credit. Like If I'm just impatient about it, okay, well, that's why your personal credit is very important, right? So I would utilize that temporarily, right? Being able to do that, get it in my personal name or PG or whatever it may be, because this is how I need to start. But ultimately, once I build business credit and things like that, I would transition everything over into that, right? Strictly into the business from that point forward. But some people have to do what they have to do initially because you never know if you are missing a good opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to miss something because you're not there quite yet with building, or just the impatience of it as well. So importantly, I would utilize resources that can provide me something for little or nothing, or for free, or being able to just leverage the personal credit side.
When you say resource, what do you mean? Like a company friend, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. It could company friend, crowdfunding, investors, or any sort of programs that may be out there that specializes of what you're trying to actually do. So to me, now, like in 2022, there's just too many other ways of getting into things where you may not have to utilize all of your money or no money at all, to be honest with you. Right. But we just got to do our research. It's just ultimately boils down to doing your research, seeing what all programs and things that are out there. You never know if you have a network opportunity to be able to partner with somebody. So just being able to use the tools and resources around you. And ultimately, if you can't do that, then you need to have a good personal credit score to leverage that. And you can move in that direction until you actually get to the point where you're ready to build business credit.
Okay. So ultimately, just don't be lazy.
Don't be lazy.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Just don't be like we gotta do something.
You gotta just
we gotta do something, y'all.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna fall in our lap.
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta be able to do something, right?
Yeah.
And I promise you, just start. You just start and see God will do the rest for you. You just start. Because that's honestly very hard for people, Michael, to just even start, to be honest with
Definitely.
you.
Yeah,
So
that's the biggest hurdle.
Everything else will fall in place.
Okay, definitely. I like that. Okay, same example. So I'm impatient. I got my business I'm trying to form. I'm less than 2 years, but I also have terrible personal credit. Should I focus on the business credit building, getting, aged LLC, or should I focus on building my personal, getting that right, getting the negatives removed? What should I do?
Well, honey, because you're going to have patience in one or the other. You're going to have patience in one or the other. Because honestly, ultimately, you got to have patience to start building business credit. Okay. Because it can be very tedious when you're first getting started, right? Yeah. Everybody don't want to get the vendor accounts and all this stuff. And, people are complaining that, I don't need nothing from here. But we're not honestly understanding the end result of it all, right? You got to understand what's your end result of it all. So to me, either way it goes, it's kind of going to be some patience involved, if that makes sense. Because if we're working on bad credit, right? Your bad credit, okay, if you're working with a person who has resolution, right? So I just call them credit resolution. I don't call it credit repair people or specialists, or whatever you want to consider them as. So credit specialists, right? You're working with them. That's going to take probably about 6 months or so, right?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah, it's gonna take about almost 6 months to just even, first of all, the cleanup. You're doing a lot of cleanup first and foremost. Whether it's charge-offs, getting rid of late payments, old addresses, all that great stuff. From that point forward, they're gonna give you a plan to put in place. Oh, you need to follow this and then the third to get some of this debt down. Yeah. So that process, honestly, to me, can take about 6 to 8 months. So knowing that you have about 6 to 8 months on the business credit side, you could have a paydex score in 3 months, right? Or less. You can have a paydex score in 3 months or so. From that point forward, now you can potentially go ahead and start getting those no PG credit cards, right? At least the no PG credit cards, because again, this is based strictly, off of your business. Yeah. It's not based on personal, right? So that gives you some sort of leverage. To me, that gives you at least some sort of credit limits to work with, right? It gives you something to work with until your personal credit gets intact. Right. So if I would have to choose one or the other, like I tell my most of my clients, I would start building the business credit as I'm working on my personal credit. Right. Because
you said something interesting. So you would do both of them at the same time? I
would do both at the same time. Okay, I tell them to work on, go ahead and start building your business credit, right? Go ahead and get a score. Okay. You're getting a score and you're adding onto your portfolio, right? In time, you can get a no PG card. as you're building and working on improving your personal credit score, once you get it to the point where you're reaching like that 680, okay, boom, now you built business credit already, you're ready for your major credit cards, right? So it's kind of, you're building at the same time, but if something had to be one over the other as far as a quicker route, business credit will be quicker than the personal credit side to me. Because of just the time frame. You can do in 6 to 8 months, you can have so much credit lines, right? A lot of vendor accounts you can work with, your no PG cards, all this different stuff in about 6 to 8 months already in place. As you're working on getting your personal credit in place, right? So that's how I kind of do that. Like that would make more sense to me.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
To go that route.
Okay, yeah, and I like that because I get asked that question sometimes too, and I say like you could technically do both at the same time, but business credit is faster.
Yes, absolutely, much faster.
Okay, I like that. So when it comes to building a business credit, you know, some people that don't know about the tiers and all that, they might just think everything is completely free. Can we talk about, you know, can we talk about that? Like, should people be aware that they might have to do monthly spending or something like that?
Very good question. So when I tell people, because to me, you got to mentally like prepare yourself when you start building business credit, because your vendor accounts, you have to be able to spend over $50 before taxes. That's first and foremost on each vendor, right? So automatically, to me, that's going to be about $80 max, right? With the shipping or whatever that may be. So you take that. I tell people you need to set aside at least $250 to $300 per month to start building just for your vendor accounts to get a paydex score, right? So you need to set aside about $250 to $300. That's going to get you about 4 vendor accounts, okay? But ultimately, it has to be understood that you can buy from vendors, but you can also set up accounts that are recurring, right? That you don't have to pay for every month. So you don't have to buy something, every month from those vendors. They can just be recurring from your account. So if you're factoring those things plus what you're buying, that's why you need to set aside about $250 to $300. All right. And 300, if you want to push it by 350, to be honest with you, right? But you need to just at least, okay, go ahead and process your mind that you got to set aside $250 to $300, like automatically to start building business credit. Okay. And then from month 4, if you can kind of have a little bit more leeway. So you get into your retail accounts and things of that nature, but at least by the time you get there, you have about 6 to 8 accounts. So you should have a good score. You should be in the green. So when I say in the green, most like the Dun & Bradstreet score, as well as the experience score, ranges from 0 to 100. All right. So 0 to 100. So the higher the score, the lower the risk. The higher the score, the lower the risk. Equifax, it's go from 101 to 992. Same concept. The higher the score, the lower the risk will be. Okay. So just being able to have a diversified account when it comes to that, but setting aside that budget is super important that we budget before we even start to even thinking about building business credit, right? So budget to me is super important, as well as the structuring of the business. Those are like the top 2 for sure. Structuring and having a budget set aside. So when you go into it, you're not in a frantic and you're kind of knowing what you're dealing with.
Okay, definitely. Yeah. And I think what's dope too, going back to what we said about the 0% interest cards, you could technically do it for free if you got a 0% interest card and then you use that for your 300 or whatever. So
come on now. So that's what I tell people, to utilize your 0% APR cards, right? Especially the ones that you can kind of carry a balance with, because if it's charge card, you ain't gonna be you got to pay that back the next month, okay? But utilize your 0% APR cards, right? Also, a lot of people don't sleep on the business secured credit cards, because first off, those is going to help to increase your scores much faster, right? And also to improve your scores as well. Okay, so I always push for the secured credit cards because they report for sure to the credit bureaus. So like all 3 credit bureaus, they report very faithfully to that, right? And so a lot of the secured cards that I personally have, I use those for my bills. I set up the bills because it's a strategy with it all, right? The secure credit cards, I know for sure they're reporting to all 3 credit bureaus. So I'm going to set up my bills to be recurring on those cards. And I know for sure it's being reported because my bills are being paid from it. Right. So that's just going to be a constant rotation every month. I don't even have to worry about it. So if people get to the point where they potentially cannot afford to constantly keep paying for all of these vendor accounts, get a secured credit card and just pay the bills with that and utilize the secured card because it's also reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Got me?
Yeah, definitely,
So
definitely.
that's how I kind of that's how I win at the game, right? And keeping my
Okay,
scores very high.
definitely.
It's just being able to utilize the cards that actually is going to work in your favor, or those vendor accounts that are reporting. I don't get any vendor accounts that does not report, that does nothing for the business profile, right? So make sure when you're getting your vendor accounts that they are reporting to the credit bureau.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, no, that's a good point, because I know sometimes some people say like, oh, it's not reporting, this, that, and the third. So yeah, it's definitely going to be intentional about that.
Right.
Before we transition, we're about to transition into the last questions. But before we transition to the last questions, I just want to ask, 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Ooh, 5 years from now, where do I see myself? Oh my gosh. Hopefully, like, my ultimate goal is to be able to be a major speaker, right?
Okay.
Whether it's regarding business credit or just financial literacy in general, to be honest with you. So I would love to ultimately travel the world to speak, right? And speaking was not my thing, but I'm very passionate about this, obviously, as you probably can tell.
Yeah.
So I'm very passionate about just financial literacy in general. So ultimately being able to just travel the world to speak on major platforms about the importance of this, because no matter how much we think people know, they just do not know. And people are literally, especially when it comes to business credit, they're just finding out about this. I hear it every day, all day. Like, I didn't even know business credit was a thing, you know? But I understand that because just a couple of years ago, I was the same way. I didn't know what a virtual address is. I didn't know none of this stuff was even out here until I just started doing heavy research. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a whole nother world. So just actually, for me, just being able to travel the world to speak more about it and just living off my passive income. Being able to just have investment properties and different things of that nature as well. But ultimately, as far as just being able to spread, I feel like the gospel of financial literacy to everybody in the world, especially the communities that we're from and things like that. I know they don't know because we didn't grow up around these things. And so it's super important to know, like, those small communities, those small towns that people are from, to be able to go back, to give back to those communities and things like that as well. So those children, the generations to come, can be aware of what this is and what this looks like, to be able to set a foundation in a structure up for their children to come as well. So I think that's super important.
Okay, definitely dope. Do you do a lot of speaking now, or no?
No, not yet, but I'm claiming it.
Manifesting. Hey.
Not yet. Like, people are starting to come now. It's like, okay, the platform is growing, my following base is growing, and different things like that. So they're like, okay. So I know, honestly, probably before the year's out, but starting next year, I feel like it's gonna be like, doors are gonna like be busting down. So I'm just learning, to live in the now, right? So just living in my now and just trusting God's plan and his will for what is to happen. I think I'm gonna be for sure prepared for whatever he's gonna have for me. But he's prepared me right now. So I think he's fully prepared me for what he is about to do in my life. So
definitely.
I'm just being patient. That's all I can say. Just be patient and just wait to see what he got for you.
Yeah, definitely. This is gonna be on YouTube too. So anybody is looking for engagements, send them this video. You're talking your stuff and you good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna transition into like just a last few questions. It's gonna be like a quick lightning round, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
No trick questions, no nothing.
Oh Lord. All right.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So we want to know, what do you do for fun when you're not, going crazy with the business credit, speaking about all that? Like, what does Lashanta do for fun?
Oh, listen, nothing. Probably need to do a little bit more, but I like travel. So I like to travel when I can, right? Right now, business is still so new and fresh, but I love to travel, read different things of that nature, just go out, like, social. I don't do a lot of outings and things like that, but once if I'm able to just get out and just socialize, with friends, different things like that, catching up or doing a spa day or whatever case might be, then, like, that's my thing, right? So as I get older, like, the simplicity of life is cool for me. Just, you know, just the things that are pretty simple in life. But if I can travel, that's definitely what I would do. Is like just travel the world. Like that's ultimately like my dream is just to travel the world as much as possible before I leave here. So yeah.
Okay, cool. What's your favorite place you've been to so far?
I've been to Cabo. Like so far, I
Okay.
haven't been to anything like super major. Like, and so I guess that's what I want to be able to get to, right? To be able to go to like internationally and different things like that.
Oh, you mean like out of the country? Okay.
Yeah, out of the country. But right now, honestly, the last 2 or 3, it's just really been in the hustle and the bustle of building our businesses from the trucking business now into this business. So it hasn't been a whole lot of leeway, but ultimately, like the goal for next year, and I just feel like it's good when you can incorporate business in your travels. So doing what you love, you're getting paid, and it's a tax write-off. Like I just cannot. But it's such a win-win for me. But ultimately, like when I have my downtime and stuff, I just like to continue like read and just like whatever that may be, whether it's financials or a relationship or just divine purpose, whatever that may be. Like I would love to just, I need like 5 of me to read like 5 books right now.
Oh wow. What's some of your reads right now?
The quadrant cash flow is one of my like top reads that I'm doing right now. I'm like when it comes to like financial stuff.
Okay, got you.
So that's what I'm kind of reading right now. And then I'm also reading a book called Detour. Just like when detours come in your life and different things like that, like how to handle that. Or just obstacles and things like that. So that's another, like I kind of dib and dab, but I'm trying to finish one. It's like we can never finish one book. It is, please, Lord, when if you go into places, okay, everybody like, oh, I got this book, and it's like, oh, now that sounds good.
Yeah.
I need like 5 of me, okay, to read several different books and just bringing all the knowledge back to me.
Okay. Yeah. The next question: what's your favorite financial resource, if any? You can name a couple. Seems like you like a lot of things.
My favorite financial resource.
It could be a book, show, podcast, whatever.
You know what? As far as I won't even say like I love like Eric Thomas. Like he is one of my top motivators and different things of that nature. I absolutely adore and love him. I don't have like a favorite podcast. I just kind of am open. Like I'm an open-minded person. You don't have a favorite podcast? No, I don't.
Cat pot on his plane. Go ahead.
Right, yours. Okay, period. Yours. But I am honestly, like I'm like an open book. So if I see like it's really, really good and it captures my attention, and I'm open to that, right? So I don't have like a favorite podcast or any of that type of stuff. But Eric Thomas is like a person that I really love to enjoy to listen to. Like I just love his open-mindedness and things of that nature. And obviously he's a motivational speaker and stuff as well. So that's like really, really dope to me. And so I follow anything like Business Finders, Forbes. Like that's all I follow. Like I don't follow a lot of mess and stuff. I just follow things that can keep me inspired or can give me insight of things that I may or may not know. Now that I'm getting more into real estate and things like that. So I'm kind of dipping and dabbing into those things. So I just really follow what my heart places me at. And I'm like, okay, this is some really good gems right here. I need to like tap into this a little bit more, but I cannot define or name like a favorite because it's so many podcasts. Like it's so many podcasts and things like that. And it's even on YouTube and stuff. So like if I come across a good person that I'm like, oh, this is really great information. Like I'm gonna stick beside them, like for sure, unless they just prove me differently. So
gotcha.
I don't have favorites. I don't got favorite color. I don't got.
Gotcha.
I like all colors of life. Like I'm just honestly an open book. To be honest with you, I'm just open like that. So.
Okay, cool. I like the Eric Thomas answer too, because I got certified through his. I don't know if you know the Extreme Execution program. You know about it?
Yeah, you got certified.
Yeah, I got certified.
I love that.
Yeah,
he's coming to. I think it's a January. He's gonna be in Houston. Is it Houston? I think.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't even been.
Yeah, I think
I got certified like I don't know if it was last year or maybe the year before. You know, the whole disc assessment, all that.
Yeah, I met him in person before he was even super well known. I met him in person at the bank that the credit union I used to work. They bought him out.
Oh, wow.
Yes, before he was like super well, because he went to one of the colleges in Huntsville, Alabama,
Yeah.
right? He went to one of the colleges there. So he came and spoke and all that great stuff. And I got his like very first book. And
Oh,
yeah,
dope.
so I've been on him for a long
Oh, dope.
time. And he just got just super paid. Let's start there. But he's very motivational.
Yeah.
Like he can tear up a room, and that's a beautiful thing, you know?
Yeah. Dope, dope, dope. All right, last question of the quick round or whatever you want to call it. If you could change one thing about the Black community when it comes to, you know, finances, business credit, you made a reaction. What would it be and why?
Honestly, I would just, if we can shift our mindset,
Okay.
right? Just the mindset of our thinking, right?
Yeah.
We don't think very highly, honestly, of ourselves. We don't think we're capable.
Mhm.
We don't think we're that we are positioned enough to do anything. So I always try to just make sure people understand that our mindset is everything. Like
Yeah.
the way you think, the way you process things, the way you view things. We got to look at it from, we get so caught up sometimes in, because again, like you said, kind of in a sense of laziness. It's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to, why do I have to do this? It's a lot of the whys, but can you do it? Like, can you just make it happen type of situation? So just shifting the mindset of the minds and understanding the end result. I think
Mhm.
it's so important that we understand the end result of what we're doing, right?
Mhm.
If you got to build, you got to start with your vendor accounts to build, right? You got to do that. Like you got to purchase some things that you may not want to be able to do, but guess what that's going to do for me? That's going to open up more doors. It's going to give me leverage,
Yeah.
right? To be able to ultimately get into passive income, which is going to help you to create generational wealth.
Right.
So we start thinking, you know, more positive and stop thinking about the why, and just do.
Mhm.
Then we'll be a little bit, you know, we'll be a little bit better. We'll be a little bit sharper, you know, and things of that nature. And the world won't seem so, but you'll be able to condense things down a bit more because we just have a fuller understanding of just life in general.
Mhm.
Right. So just shifting the
Mhm.
mindset and thinking more positive and steering away from the negativity and the distractions and things of that nature of life.
Okay. That was a good answer. Good answer.
Thank you.
All right. So, at this point, I just like to ask, is there a certain question that people don't ask you that you would want to be asked? Like you're like, damn, I wish, you know, people ask me about this. I don't know how many interviews you'd be doing, but
No, honestly, like everything I thought you probably would ask me, like it has been really good. So I don't think it's been nothing like, I wish they would have asked me about this,
okay.
right? Because I don't mind like sharing whatever, right? That's why I just feel it because it needs to be known, you
Gotcha.
know. But there's nothing that I can say that doing interviews that I was like, dang, why they ask me about this? Like, y'all
Okay.
want to know if I'm married? Y'all want to know? I'm just like,
Okay. So I did my job basically.
You
I,
did your
I
job.
did my
You
job. I
definitely
bet.
did your job. I absolutely enjoyed this. I loved it. I think with this information, it's a good starting point. You know, they should know what to do, how to start
Yeah.
at least, or if you're just even lost, excuse me, in direction, you can always book a consultation, right? So I
Definitely.
think you hit the hammer on the nail, as the old people say.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. One more question I got. So, can you give us just maybe one more final credit, business credit, gem, crystal, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want people to take from the podcast episode, however you interpret that?
Absolutely. So, like a major gem that people just really don't know about, right, is when it comes to these high-end credit cards. So, if you're a person like me, I'm always curious, especially if I'm building on something and I feel like I'm not quite getting there. I remember when I was to the point, I was like, okay, like I know Brittany have not had a business, but for like less than 1 year, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't got no income in your business or barely any income, but you have very high end credit cards, right? Like, how are you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Which me being smart, I understand, okay, credit probably was a part of it, but what else is potentially missing from that? And that just comes down to the projected income. Like, literally, that's all people are able to do is put projected income.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like making your profile look good,
Mm-hmm.
especially because a lot of us are doing applications and things like that online, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're not having a lot of human interaction. So you may
Mm-hmm.
get instant approvals, you may not. And even if you don't, kind of like when I got my American Express card, I got approved. I didn't even know how much I was approved for. I was able to get a $25,000 American Express card, less than 1 year in business, but I have good credit though, right? I did not have any revenue really coming to my business at all, but I got $25,000. So it's strategy to any of this stuff. And that's what people got to know and understand is strategies, is hacks, is different ways around it. So you're able to capitalize on these high credit limits from different, lenders, right? So just being able to understand that it's about your projected income. So they can't tell you what you project for your business to look like, or you project for your business to be. And that's why it's so important for our business plans, right? Our pitch decks and grant proposals and all these great things that we need to have in place. So if you ever have to have something submitted, you could say, hey, this is exactly what I said I was going to project for my business. And this is what I put, right? So just being able to put that projected income, that's how you're able to get high. And if that's the case, right, we got to make it make sense. So if we got about 2 or 3 people in there, you can possibly make $150,000 to $250,000 in a business. That's very possible. And also we're in business 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, right? Okay, I'm just throwing some stuff out there. Okay, so you hope you're catching it type of situation. But that's what it is, right? So that's it. And so based upon that, and especially with your personal credit, if you got good personal credit and you kind of going that route, I don't see why you can't get between $10,000 to $25,000 in credit, like instantly from one card. So hope that was a good gem for people.
Appreciate you, Lashanta. Appreciate your time. Can you let the people know where they can find you?
Absolutely. So make sure you guys follow me on Facebook at Every Penny Accounts Financial. Instagram will be EPA_financial, and our website is www.epafinancialsolutions.com.
Good. There y'all have it. With that being said, y'all have a blessed one.
Thank you.